Has your sister read read your books?
When I wrote this book, my sister had already passed away. She died of a malignant brain tumor when she was only 53. So she didn't read it. Any other questions while I'm paused here?
If you remembered everything, even before you started writing, or things came to you in the process.
Yes, and you know what? I remember being a little kid and saying, I am going to remember every rotten thing I lived through because I'm never going to do this to my kids. Mm-hmm. And I remember like making a concerted effort to remember everything. And yet I can't say that it was the only reason I remembered a lot, because a lot of the stuff I remembered was also good. And you know, that kind of defines something that it was true about my mom. She could be very loving at one moment and a lot of fun. And in fact, somewhere in the book, I describe her as a cross between Auntie Mame and Attila the Hun, because you never knew which one you were going to get. However, I used to think it would have been better if she'd been all bad. I don't think so, because I think that the healthy part of me came from the, you know, being raised by the healthy part of her. And I think that having a mixture made it easier for me to be able to say, well, this nice mom is my real mom. You know, the other mom is, you know, she can't help herself. She's kind of nutty, which we did know that. I mean, it was kind of obvious even to little kids.
So is she bipolar? Or
well, it's funny you should ask that, because I went to graduate school to become a therapist, and I think at least one of my motivations was wanting to diagnose my mother. Like, what in the hell had been wrong with her?
good question.
It is.
Good question.
It is. But there is a part of the book, I found this out after my mom had already passed away. My aunt called me one day, and
Your mother's sister?
my mother's sister, yeah. My aunt called me, and she said she had read in the Los Angeles Times that there was a doctor who was giving all of his patients LSD and telling them that it was diet pills. And she said, this doctor was your mother's psychiatrist, only he wasn't a real psychiatrist. He was an osteopath. And a lot of other women were suing him because they had finally figured out what happened. And it's funny because I remember one day my mom said to me, you know, I don't think that I was psychotic. I think that I had a drug-induced psychosis. So it's hard to know how much of it was, you know, can you imagine having LSD like every single day and not know that you're taking a hallucinogen? I mean, it's pretty outrageous. So that's the other reason I think I'm very sympathetic with my mom, but besides the fact that she wasn't doing that well financially, couldn't get a decent job as a woman in the 50s, but also she went through an awful lot during her childhood, and her parents were nothing to write home about either.